Okay, how are you all? I am starting this to talk about my battle with multiple sclerosis and type 1 diabetes. As I've had type 1 diabetes since I was 9, I'm 45 years old now. I got I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2018. So it's 2020, so it's been about 2 years as it was in November. So going on 3. And that has progressed, in my opinion, in regard to the loss, or I won't say loss, the restriction of some of my mobility and some of, I don't know if cognition is the right word, but the ability for me to, as just happened, sometimes thought to translate into words not as quick as it was, or at least in my opinion, as it was a couple years ago. So these are all things that I'm dealing with, from the time I get out of bed in the morning to the time that I go to bed at night. My restriction, my mobility, my actions, my being very much is something that, fortunately, unfortunately for me, is day by day. I just actually have been going to a psychological counselor, to talk about myself and what my sister says in regard to being in my head, as I'm a very much a thinker. And when I say a thinker, I mean that I am a individual that thinks through everything, even if it's that second my thought of that action might be new to me, but my ability, at least what I think is, goes way far into its being, or in my cognition of how to do and do, say and do those things. So um I very much, in regard to just me, and then I'll go forward with talking about my multiple sclerosis. In regard to my history, I graduated from college in 99, got a job as a probation officer in West Virginia, worked that job for about almost 10 years, then moved to Virginia as a probation officer for the state, both in West Virginia and then in Virginia. Worked that job in two different localities about 20 years. And then moved back to West Virginia as a director of a program for for children that very much have been in the court system, to, when the court orders them to do something, go through counseling, go through uh, life skills, teaching, those type of things, are all things that went on. The group is called a Youth Report Center. As I was a director there, and then I had to leave. I chose to leave because restriction. When I say restriction, it was things that I was experiencing, like I said, in regard to my ability to think, to type things out, and things of that nature. My boss talked to me about a whole bunch of times. He was like, if I would have known that you were dealing with multiple sclerosis, I would have not been as hard on you, or not. I would have understood the the difficulty that you are having, because, Jonathan, you excelled even while being challenged. And I'm like, well, I'm a man of, I have melanin in my skin, so I understand how individuals without, how they view me, and my thought of myself is always having to be better anyway. That's one of the things I talked to my counselor about today. My thought is always I had to be better anyway. So him saying that, I said that twice. Him saying that I very much was challenged by my disease, or the diseases were becoming known or seen to him. Um, when I told him that I had multiple sclerosis, not before, he was like, "Well, geez, Jonathan, it not only makes sense, but you were doing well. Even if you didn't have it, you were doing well seemingly as a quote unquote regular person. Um, and I mean, I very much am a man that, those things come and go. It is what it is. But my talking about the challenges for individuals, hopefully, are going to watch this, and individuals going through the same type of difficulties that I am having, I want them to know first, you're not alone. And I know I don't know you, but it is not something that you are going through by yourself. And again, I don't know you, but just know in your prayers and your understanding, in your being, that the steps that you are taking, you're not the only one taking them. And that the difficulty that you're having today, I or a whole bunch of other people, they very well may be having those same things. So I don't want you to think less of yourself. I don't want you to think negatively about yourself. I don't want you to think anything bad about yourself. The fact that you get out of bed, that you're not reliant on individuals, if not necessary, to do certain things for you. If you're able to get out and drive your car and go places and maybe even work a job, you're able to be successful in life, then these are things that regular that people without either diabetes type 1 or multiple sclerosis don't do. So understand your value, understand your measure in this world, and how much of value and how much measure you have. You are a great person, man. And ladies, you are a great person. So don't discredit yourself at all. So today is June the 14th, 2021. And so I'll talk to you about my goings this today. Um, I very much thank the Lord I got up. It's a Monday. I was able to get up out of bed on my own, put on my socks to go out into the world. Still thankfully able to drive. Asking, don't have it yet, for a um, uh, thing to put in my window so I can handicap parking sticker. Gonna get that from my neurologist very soon. And very much had to go out, got to go to the DMV for registration. I went, like I said, to my counselor. I've, so I was, thank God I was able to wash my feet today. When I say wash my feet, I was able to bend over and pull them up to me to wash. This has been something lately that has been challenging for me to not to get the bottoms of my feet, not the tops, but the bottoms, because lifting my feet up have become something that is difficult for me to do. That you talk about the progression of the disease, that is something that is present very much. Just thank God I wake up every day and I say, Lord, I'm not going to fall today. Lord, I'm not going to fall today. And so, thank God the times that I fell were in this house. And so, my falling was when I was trying to put my shorts on before I was leaving. And it was before I was going to go up the steps to go out of the house. That was something that it very much, going up the steps sucks. I just want to put that on the record. So if you're battling that, who's ever watching, if you understand that, definitely understand that you're not the only one going through that. And so, on good days, bad days, whatever days, get through it. Get through it. That's why I mean, that's personally, that's what I do. I just have to get through it. I gotta get up the steps to get out to get to my car. So if I don't get up the steps, then I don't get to leave. And a lot of times, and just recently, one of my nieces has told me about adding more fruits and vegetables to my diet. Not saying I didn't always do that, but making that a number one instead of a number three or four, and cutting back, if not completely eliminating the eating of meat. And have I seen that result? Not really. Have I noticed that now when I am battling the low blood sugar because I have type 1 diabetes, I'm on the pump. When I have low blood sugar, which is something I have battled since having diabetes for 30 some odd years, that very much is something that low blood sugars, that is something that I have had to deal with. There have been times when dealing with my nieces, they've had to call 911 for me because sitting at my mother's kitchen table at dinner one time, my blood sugar dropped and they had to call 911 because I very much was not, I lost consciousness and I lost my ability, not only just cognition, but understanding, the ability to talk. I was out. And so when that happened to me, those are things that one of my youngest niece that she's had to deal with, unfortunately, a whole bunch of times, because for a time period I lived with my sister, and when I lived with my sister, a lot of times when she didn't have to go to school, she would be there with me. And when she would be there with me, because I work for 40 hour 40-hour work week in 4 days, so I would always have Monday off. And so when she would either come home from school or be out for soccer or whatever, whenever she was there, a lot of times, thank God, she would be there and I would be out. And my being out meant that she had to call 911 for me. And she very much, and she was in high school at the time, not even, she was probably a sophomore at the time, and was dealing with her uncle not be having these issues. And this was before I had the diagnosis of multiple sclerosis. So these was just type 1 diabetes, as I was just getting on the pump and learning how to better activate, no, better deal with it, and the bolusing, and the when I'm eating, and the continued disbursement of my insulin. So those things have all come new to me while being in the last 6 or 7 years. These things have all become new to me. So that is something that I too want everyone to have an idea or knowledge of, that struggle doesn't mean eliminate. Struggle means better steps ahead. And that sucks. I even just had that thought ran through my head, because I'm like, damn, Jonathan, do you believe that? But yeah, because that's what I have in my life, as what I have done. And that is not only what I have done in my life, but that is a lot of how God works. And that is not always what we want. They always say, always comes when you want, doesn't come when you want him, but he's right on time. Well, that right on time is just something that I'm just like, whatever, man. It would have been better if it was 2 days before, or a month before, or whatever. But that is one of those things. And then I just thought about that today. I'm not getting offhand, but just thinking out loud. Thinking about how I mess up and how God has to deal with that, and how my messing up is doesn't just deal with cursing, or doesn't just deal with me thinking somebody's a poop butt or somebody's something else, or it has to do with me not only in my actions in regard to dealing with people, in regard to dealing with situations, has to do with my thoughts, I'm not married, so having whatever thoughts about women and uh, a whole bunch of stuff. So these are all things that, I very much am like, dang, well, God has to deal with that for the universe, not just me. And dang, so I get it, and his time isn't our time, so it is what it is. But nonetheless, I just want everybody to know, as I was saying first, as far as my difficulty on the 20th. Now, as I said, I was able to get up and get out and go upstairs, and that's how I kind of got on that tangent. But understand that your feelings, emotions are valid, not just valid, they are for real because they're yours. And questioning, being upset, being like quote unquote pissed off, that is okay because not only because you might used to be able to do things that you can't, not only because you have difficulty or struggles with doing things currently, not only because you're not understood, not only because people don't connect with you. I mean, these I get it, man, and woman and everyone. I get it. I don't want you to not think that you are alone. And I said that earlier. I don't, it doesn't really matter because you don't know me and I don't know you, and so your struggles are your own. I get that, but understand that you're not the only ones struggling with it. You're not the only one struggling with having diabetes or multiple sclerosis and diabetes type 1 or 2. You're not. So I want you to get that, to understand that, to have that in your heart and mind, and understand that your feelings and your emotions, same thing, and your actions, those are all things that you have the ability of controlling. So how far you take them, how less you take them, up to you. And that very much is a thing that you can control. And I want you to do that, to control it, not only so you get it out, but to control it so that it is something that isn't hurtful or harmful to anyone else, as well as isn't something that that is a burden, because it can be, and that is something I don't want it to be for you or anyone, because burdens suck, and not only do they suck, this person, whoever is watching this, has a whole lot of stuff to go through. And I know that personally is not only multiple sclerosis, not only type 1 diabetes, but financial stuff, trying to find a relationship with a woman for me, and a whole bunch of other stuff. These are things that everyone has to go through. That and job, um, shoot, what you're gonna eat for dinner today. I mean, these are all things, as big or as small, whatever, that you are going through. And these are all things that matter. They matter to you. And I want you to know that and understand that, and why it is very important, because we're dealing with you. I might be the one broadcasting this channel, and I'm thankful that I am, but I very much want everyone to know that. Another one of the things I talked to my counselor about, we are all going through something. So she talked to me about someone that she knows that is dealing with ovarian cancer or something, and she was talking about how bad of a type of cancer that was, and how basically she was she told the woman about not thinking that she is in the process of dying with ovarian cancer, but that she is living with ovarian cancer. And I was like, damn, I am living with multiple sclerosis. I am living with type 1 diabetes. I'm not dying from it. I'm living with it. And living with it is good, bad, in between, up to me. And so that is the power that I have. I have the power to make it good, to make it bad, to make it nothing, to make it something. I have that power. You have that power. All of you. You have that power to not only make it good, but you have that power to make it something that is great if it is only for you. And I say if, being just for you, because you're the only one that matters. You are to you at this point. Yes, you may have family. Yes, you may have friends. And I get that. Thankfully, I do as well. But when you wake up every day, even if you're in the bed on the other side with someone, in your skin, it's just you. That end of my belief as a Christian, that end of the day, when it's all over and you're before St. Peter of to get into the pearly gates, those things, he doesn't say who you're married to or what does your wife think or your husband think. He just asks you about you. What did you do? What didn't you do? These are his questions that I imagine. I don't know. Thank God I'm not dead yet, but that's what my thought is. So I'm telling you, you're the one that's in your skin. You're the one that has to go through these things. So I get that going through these things is something difficult some days, and some days it's easy. I have good days, I have bad days, I have okay days. These are some of the things that I try to tell my sisters about, because that is something that, one, how to apply that to my life is something that is new for me, but the actions and the understanding I'm still getting. And that might be something that I continue to get for the rest of my life. I don't know. I mean, every day is different, thank God. And so there are definitely things that are repeated, but there are some of the things that we get to do once and we get to do it once only. And these are the things that our ideas of doing them the best that we should do. And that's Monday, the 14th of May, 2021, man. We only get to live this day once. So we wanted to make sure we live it to the best of our ability, regardless of having type 1 diabetes, multiple sclerosis, or any other disease or things that you may have and may have to be dealing with. I know I'm not supposed to be wiping my face after all this COVID stuff, but I just washed my hands. So I think I'm okay. And I'm in the house. I haven't touched anything outside of, I got some food. So God willing, I'm safe with that kind of stuff. But anyway, I very much want everyone to know, like I was saying, that today is the day that you only get one, so take advantage of it, and definitely understand that difficulty isn't an end. That difficulty is just a shift in doing what you have been doing. It's a shift because you have to do something to get around the difficulty, or you can plunge right through it. I don't know. I mean, those are all things that you have, as an individual, you have to make the choice of how you deal with them. Like this me dealing, as I said, 2018, me dealing with this multiple sclerosis. I talked to my therapist about this today. I just got to the point of being able to say I have multiple sclerosis and be okay with it. It not being something that is a negative in my head. In my head, it always had been. Me having diabetes isn't something that I was so negative about, because unless people for real were watching what I was eating and for real going to the bathroom with me when I was taking the shot before I got the pump, then they would know I had type 1 diabetes. So it wasn't something that was broadcast, but multiple sclerosis, the reason why it is. I mean, I'm walking with a cane sometimes now. Not only that, but as I said, the presentation of things that I'm thinking, my actions in regard to walking up and down steps, in regard to not falling, which has been something that has been present in my life recently, and in regard to just sometimes getting in and out of the car. Like I have to grab my leg, whether it be my shorts or my pants, sometimes to get in the car. And I get if you're like, well, how do you press on the gas? I don't have difficulty with that. It is getting them in the position, when I say them, my legs, getting them in the position to be in the car. Thank God my feet and my hands and my eyes, I wear glasses, but my eyes, these things aren't affected. Um, and thank God my mobility isn't for real affected. It is. I get tired real easy. When I get tired, I if I don't act or react to being tired in a way that sit down, Jonathan, then these are things that I've fallen because my legs weren't acting the way they were supposed to. When I say acting the way they're supposed to, walking, and I just picking up my legs wasn't something that was happening right then. I needed to chill for a second. And so this is something that I very much have had to come to a understanding or understanding of in regard to myself because I am been always achieve, do. That's been me. And being able to myself take a rest isn't something that was done for me. Wasn't something that I did. And so that is something now that I've had to do. And not only do sporadically, but do all the time. When I feel tired, it could be 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning. I mean, when I got out of bed today, it was a little after 7, and I got moving, and I was shaving my head, and I was thinking around. I was shaving probably around 9:30. I was thinking I need to sit down because I felt tired, and I was just like, "What in the heck, Jay? What is wrong with you?" Then it was became a question of no, not what is wrong with you, but this is what you need to do, dude. What is going to be right with you? Are you going to listen? Or are you going to scratch up your head? Are you going to have something crazy done to you? I say scratch up your head, cut your head so that you begin bleeding, which I've done a whole bunch of times. And is this going to be something that ends up hurting you? Or is this going to be something that you catch? I was watching, it was some Super Bowl highlight of the New England Patriots that was on NFL Network. Are you going to watch that? So yeah, I chose to watch that. So I mean, it's very much choices, and so understand that the choices, and this is in your life, regardless of whether or not you have a disease or not. The choices that you make are going to represent your outcomes. So please be aware of everything going on with you, so that your choices are made not only with feeling, I do that a lot, but also with intelligence, with research, with understanding, so that you are able to make good and great choices, not just quick off the top of your head choices. I do them both, but I have learned to try to do the thought into choices more. But God willing, it's something I'll continue to do. And I will try to do this every day because my day is different every day, and I didn't really talk about a whole lot of stuff in regard to my multiple sclerosis and my diabetes. Like, okay, I will go and say like, look, when I woke up today, my blood sugar was, I think it was like 150. No, it was 70 something. And then, that's getting low. So obviously I went real quick, went and started eating some fruit. That was to start my day. And so I very much ate some fruit and drank some juice and began to shave my head. And again, when I was shaving my head, I started to feel tired. And this was, I don't know how long into waking up, brushing my teeth, and washing, kind of sort of washing off my face before I got in the shower. So this was minutes into waking up. And then I was kind of sort of feeling tired. Okay, so then I was just like, well, dang, dude. But I did it. I sat down. Like I said, I started watching something on NFL Network about the New England Patriots and one of their Super Bowls because I was tired. I didn't want to cut up my head. Done that, been there. And so I very much made a choice that was good for me. And when I say good for me, it was because I did stuff to cut my head. I rested so that when I went back to cut my head, it wouldn't be a thing of an issue. And then I got dressed and got in the shower, got dressed and got on. Was able to. I've learned. Actually, I fell in the shower, and I was gonna call and tell one of my sisters that thankfully I fell in a place. Cause like I said, my prayer every morning is asking God not to fall, and I very much am thankful that the place I fell today, and this is probably much no, this is something much more to save for embarrassment because when I have fallen in the community, I think of, oh God, how do I look? I look like a drunk or I look like something's going on. And people thankfully have all rushed to help me. And I'm always thinking, damn, do they think that I'm drunk or they don't smell alcohol with me? They probably smell cologne because I try to wear some. Well, no, I don't try to wear some every day. Smell good in my opinion. But they very much couldn't smell alcohol. So are they thinking, oh, is he a drunk? Or oh, is something wrong with him? Does he have something wrong with him? And that's one of the things I told my counselor. I think I said this today. Being able to admit, look, man, I do have multiple sclerosis, and who cares? Like I said, diabetes isn't something that I've had to broadcast to the world, but multiple sclerosis very well may be something that I do. When I went to the DMV today, I was using my cane to walk, and I very much was because I don't need it with every step I take. A lot of times I'm holding it in my hand as opposed to walking with my using it to lean on. There are definitely times that I do, but and how I got it, I was last Christmas at my mom's. I fell down the steps and I was carrying a plate for dinner and I fell down the steps. All the food fell out on the ground. And I very much in my head I didn't how at the time I didn't realize how much it had to do with the low blood sugar compiling with my multiple sclerosis, and when my low blood sugar and my multiple sclerosis, when they are for real teaming up with a low blood sugar, that is something that completely restricts my mobility completely. Falling is something, I mean, I've done it waking up and making up my bed every in the morning. And so that is something that I've come to know through action. And it definitely has taken me, I'm trying to think, I don't want to say wrong, but at least 3 times. One time I was downtown Pittsburgh. One time I was in my bedroom making up my bed. One time I was, just happened this morning, I was getting ready to walk up the steps and I fell on one of the steps. So, it's something that I very much knowing and doing, not always the same thing for me. So, in regard to knowing and doing, these are things that I very much have to do, not just say. So that is something that I am thankful that someone hasn't had to go through it for me or take my stupidity, negative actions however you want to view them. They are very much not there, and that is something it affected me. So I'm grateful for that. Now, because I all the times of falling, I've not had any. I didn't break any bones. I didn't have any negative action reaction. I just had, dang, you fell, and that was it. And I'm thankful for that. But I don't know if that will be the same for you. That could be very different. And if that's different for you, it's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing. It's just a thing. It's just you. How you are and how I am aren't always the same. Now, we very much may have the same conditions, but how we react to those conditions could be completely different. That is something that is individual. So I want you to not be so critical of yourself and understanding that your journey is yours. I want you to understand and be thankful for your journey. And this is something I'm telling myself as much as I'm telling you on YouTube in regard to your journey and being thankful for it, because I know a lot of times you're just like, why am I gonna be thankful for this crap? Especially in having to deal with these diseases or this disease. I get it, man, but I get it, everyone. But it's not a negative. It isn't. Even if you are thinking about it, viewing it as a negative, stop, because you're not a negative. You're a positive. You're great. So understand your value, and your value is something that is different for you than it is for your brother, your sister, people down the street, your cousin, your whoever. It's different for each of you. It's different for me than it is for my sisters or my brother. It's different. And that doesn't mean it's anything bad. That just means that it is what it is. So those things in regard to on the 14th of May 2021. So that was my understanding or my journey today. I very much was able to go to the store, was able to go to the DMV, then go to the store. Was able to go to the assessor's office, was able to do those things. Like I said, use my cane. In regard to my mobility, because these are all things that are difficult at times in regard to walking for me, but it's not impossible. And so when I was in church this Sunday, I very much, there was a young lady there that was using a walker, and my first thought was, damn, Jonathan, that could be you one day. And then it was, okay, if I get there, then that's something that I'll have to understand and get there with. And so it doesn't mean a negative at all. It just means to not be on your booty by falling. I am using this walker. That's what it means. As that, and that's how I had to come to understand the use of my cane. It doesn't mean that I'm negative. It just means sometimes I got to use a cane. Thank God I got a little bit of muscle to be able to brace myself with the cane, because that's sometimes what I had to do. So it is the outlook that it isn't bad, that it is good. So that is my journey today. Now, how that multiple sclerosis, as I said a little while ago, I was able to lift my legs to wash the bottom of my feet on both legs today. I'm thankful for that, because not every day am I able to do that. And the getting out of the shower before drying off, thank God, isn't something that I do. And I don't step on a mat. There's no mat. I just step right out. But thank God I'm able to dry myself completely before I get out of the shower. And when I say completely, I have one thing on from my back, the towel from my back. And that sometimes picking up my legs, picking up my feet, picking up my legs to get to my feet is sometimes difficult. Sometimes I just put the towel down and step on it, put some of it down, step on it to dry my feet, and I get my legs. So that is me today. Um, I definitely check my blood sugar before heading out to drive the car. Definitely before I was picking up dinner, check my blood sugar to feel to help kind of make an understanding of what I was gonna get to eat. Chinese today got two egg rolls, yes. Um, Vegetable egg rolls, and then I got vegetables and brown sauce, my favorite. Um, and those are things that I enjoy, thankfully. Don't have high blood pressure, don't have any of those things. So the only things I'm dealing with, God willing, that I only have to deal with are the multiple sclerosis and the diabetes. So being able to eat the vegetables and the brown sauce is okay for me. It might not be okay for everyone. So, because I think it's kind of high in salt, even though I put a little soy sauce in it. I get that. And your life and how you do things is going to be different than my life and how I do things. So I want you to understand. It doesn't make it better or worse. It just makes it you, and that's okay. It's not a deal. It is a deal. It's not a big one. It's a deal because that's you, and that's okay. So multiple sclerosis and diabetes is not a big. It's not a big deal. It's just a deal. How you're gonna deal with it. That is what this YouTube channel is about. So I will definitely have some other things to say in other days. But on the 14th of June, Gemini, on the 14th of June, that's what I got for you. I hope that everyone will be able to tune in and that it will be helpful because I don't want to be negative for anybody. So that's all I got. Have a good rest of the day. Be safe.